Hey, it's Azrielle Lawless, and you found yourself once again in Vella. This is another episode of Lawless Reads, and today I am going to read one of my own stories. Okay, then. How about episode 1 of a story called The Naughty Witch's Finishing Academy? And it looks like this on your phone. Yeah, that's a great graphic, isn't it? One of my daughter's friends did this graphic, so it's really beautiful. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and dive into episode 1. Well, hello there, Lady Hestia Heloise Helbane said to the young woman standing rain-drenched on her porch. They were always the same when they first arrived, mousy, timid, lost, and often desperate. What is it I can do for you? I'm sorry, Trish replied to the fiercely beautiful woman who answered the door. She looked down at the soggy business card clutched in her hand. Is this 999 Mockingbird Lane? I couldn't find an address on the house anywhere. Lady Hestia stepped out her front door and turned to examine the ivy clinging to every inch of red brick on her Tudor-style home. She reached out a delicate red fingernailed hand and slapped the side of the house. I told you to stop covering the address, she admonished as she smacked the ivy-laden bricks twice more. Trish stepped down 2 steps and decided right then to leave. This woman was scary crazy, and that was crazy at a level at least 2 notches above what she was prepared to deal with when she decided to take her friend's advice and come here. She should have known it was sketchy when there was no social media profile she could check up on before she came here. She was just about to open her mouth and make excuses for a hasty retreat when the ivy parted where the woman had smacked the wall to reveal a brass plaque reading HHH Finishing Academy for Discerning Young Ladies, 999 Mockingbird Lane. Oh, was all Trish managed to stammer out as she gaped at the plaque, now neatly visible between parted, shivering vines of ivy. And stop that shaking. You're frightening the company, Lady Hestia said sharply to the melodramatic ivy, which promptly stopped shivering. She turned to her guest with a kinder voice. Excuse her, dear. She's been cranky since I made her relinquish the neighbor's cat last week. The ivy drooped. Well, is this what it says on your little card there? Lady Hestia asked, pointing at the brass plaque with one impeccably manicured red nail. Yes, Trish managed to stammer out. Did she say the neighbor's cat? Surely that was a joke. Then do come in, Lady Hestia said with a smile, stepping back inside and holding the door for her guest. You'll catch your death of cold out here. This was it, Trish thought, moment of truth. Was she going to turn and leave? Was she going to go into this house with the haunted ivy and the crazy gypsy lady with the purple headscarf and dark eye makeup who talked to it? Trish was a paralegal, for God's sake. What was she doing at some crazy witch's house in some old rundown neighborhood? Sure, Trish had a couple of tarot decks and a little pouch with some crystals and followed witch talk, but this was way out of her league. There were stories about this kind of stuff, and they didn't come out so good for the person knocking on the door. Well, Lady Hestia said, raising a thick black eyebrow over a mischievously glistening green eye. In or out, honey? You're not the cat. An indignant meow sounded from behind the door. I'm so sorry, Trish said, certain she was about to turn and leave just before surprising herself by stepping up and walking through the door being held for her. Don't be sorry, Lady Hestia said with a kind smile, closing the door behind them. Just come inside and make yourself comfortable. The foyer seemed to Trish too large and grand for a moderately sized Tudor home. In fact, Trish thought as she surveyed the space, this entire place was too big for what was visible from outside. But she had also just seen a cat eating ivy obey its mistress, so she decided to not ask too many questions at this point. She hadn't ruled out the possibility she was having a psychotic episode. The entry had black and white cream marble tile floor and a high ceiling. A grand staircase on the right rose to a landing that crossed over the foyer to a row of doors on another landing before continuing up again. Directly in front of them stretched a wide, airy solar that extended impossibly far. It looked as though it could double as a ballroom with its high glass walls overlooking an impeccably manicured lawn and gardens. "Please come into the parlor," Lady Hestia said to her star-stricken young guest, extending an invitational hand to an exquisitely furnished, predominantly purple room. "Please take a seat and I'll arrange for tea," she added, indicating a purple velvet Louis XIV couch. Trish walked into the room, wondering who called their formal living room a parlor these days. The room was large, but managed to remain somewhat cozy despite the purple everywhere. "Thank you," Trish said, sitting carefully on the edge of the sofa she was certain cost more than she made in a year. "Please take your ease," Lady Hestia said, untying the knot on her headscarf, freeing a mane of auburn hair to tumble over her shoulders and down her back, Audrey Hepburn style. "Excuse me while I freshen up. I was just in the greenhouse," she added, folding the scarf and slipping it into the pocket of the smock apron she wore over what appeared to be slim-fitting black jeans and a pair of pink trainers. Trish sat back on the sofa a little. "There's some magazines in the drawer there if you'd like to take a look. I won't be long," Lady Hestia said, indicating the ornate mahogany coffee table in front of the sofa. "Thank you," Trish said. Lady Hestia nodded and disappeared through the foyer for parts of the house yet unseen. Trish reached out and opened the wide drawer of the ornate mahogany table. It opened noiselessly and with ease despite its width. Lying inside, leafed one atop the next, was the current episode of every fashion and women's magazine she had ever seen, and many she had never heard of. She ran her fingertips lightly over the tops of them. What a strange place this was. Of course, it was tempting to bolt for the door, but the reason she came here in the first place gave her courage, or maybe she was just stubborn. Ginger recommended this woman. It was Ginger who gave her the card. Ginger, who was once as plain and boyfriendless as Trish, but who magically remade herself and was now the most popular girl at the office. Every summer intern this year had a crush on Ginger, including the women. She was also the most popular girl at the gym and at the bar where she and Trish used to have cocktails twice a month on payday. These days, when Ginger didn't have yet another amazing date prearranged on those evenings, there would unfailingly appear some besotted executive willing to pay for their entire evening just to bask in Ginger's radiance a while. Trish was sick of it. So, cat eating Ivy or not, she planned to sit here and wait for this strange woman to return. And so long as she didn't have to open a vein, Trish planned to stay and make Ginger's secret her secret. So that's it. That is episode 1 of the Naughty Witches Finishing Academy out on Kindle Vella. And I hope you all go check it out and let me know what you think. Like I said, the first episode's available even without an Amazon account now. And the first 3 episodes are free with an Amazon login. And after that, you've got to pay with tokens. So I am happy to help any of you. Private message me if you have any difficulty understanding the token system. And thank you so much for reading. This is Azrielle Lawless. Have a great day.